Right, listen to this. Listen to this comment I've just got. This is why busking gets a bad reputation. Bad music played by a talentless egomaniac. Someone's just commented that on a short that went live yesterday. Damn, man. Egomaniac. Man. The good thing about negative comments, whether they're in real life, gigs, or when you're busking, or right here on the internet, is they only show up when you're putting yourself out there. And that's actually a win. My first year and a half of uploading weekly videos to YouTube, I'd get like 10 views per video and no comments. Radio silence. And if I'm being completely honest, that's a worse feeling. If somebody takes the time to react to what it is you're doing, even if it's clumsy, rude, or flat out mean, it means your work, your music, it's registered. You've put yourself out there enough to elicit a reaction. You've made enough of a dent in that person's day to stir something, and that's better than nothing. Does it mean that a negative comment doesn't penetrate your heart and soul? No, no. But it does certainly beat the dread that I used to feel when I put all that work, all that time, energy and effort into something that nobody paid any attention to or whatsoever. So if you're lucky enough to be somebody out there getting negative feedback, as well as positive, of course, then good for you. You're showing up, and that's the most important thing any of us can do for ourselves. Little Hampton then. Haven't been here for a hot minute, if I'm honest. Oh, just a quick disclaimer. I know in last week's video I said that this week's video would be the big book announcement. Yes, I've written a book, and this week I'm meant to be telling you how to get that book and whatnot, but there's been a delay. So that will be next week's video. Nothing too major, and I promise it will be worth the wait. So next week. The two types of negative feedback. Category 1, all out nastiness, pure poison, over opinionated, generally useless noise. Category number 2, the stings with a sharp point. Perhaps a very unpleasant way of delivering a truth of some sort. Now, it's probably worth noting that generally most negative feedback, negative comments lie in that first category. You can throw it out and leave it behind. As for that second category, most people don't give criticism in a harsh or mean way. Typically it's because they care, and because they care, they're probably going to deliver it in a constructive manner. They're going to use thoughtful language, but not always. And we'll talk about this later on in this video. But yeah, let's discuss the ARP method of dealing with negativity, whether that's online or, I don't know, in real life. So how do you deal with negative feedback? Point number 1, your attitude shapes your audience. Almost all of the feedback I receive here online and in the streets or at gigs is done in a kind and positive way. And even when people are being critical, they'll typically go about it in a very thoughtful, nice way.
I think I lost my rhythm. I think I lost my groove. I think I lost the melody. I'm caught up in the blues.
I genuinely believe that the energy you put out there is the energy you get back. There's that mantra saying your vibe attracts your tribe. That kind of thing. If you're someone that's positive, happy, you radiate goodness, then it's likely the folk that find you are also going to be wired that way. So even when they're giving you some constructive feedback, ways to improve, ways to develop. They'll word it in a nice way.
The metronome to my mind, the pulse to the confine.
If you're putting out videos online or you're singing songs in the street that perhaps are controversial, divisive, designed to poke and prod, then you're likely to receive a lot more negativity, I would think. Especially if your choice of wording or lyrics or manner, especially if that's strong. So I'd say the first port of call when it comes to dealing with negative feedback is to think about home base first and foremost. If you're spitting negativity into the world, then you could probably expect it to come back.
The metronome to my mind, the pulse to the confine.
So instead, be kind, be compassionate, be generous. Give people the time of day and radiate good energy. And then, like I've found from these videos, you probably won't find you get much negativity. And if you do have strong opinions and you want to be topical, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, as long as it isn't offensive. Just maybe think about how you word and deliver those things. Choose language that opens doors rather than slams them shut. And then of course, if your opinions are offensive, then, well, maybe that's time you booked that silent meditation retreat and find out who you really are.
One I'll sing for you. The metronome to my mind, the pulse to the confine. Regular and dissonant, no, I can't hear you anymore. It's too loud in my
mind. Point number 2. Hurt people, hurt people. Before I was August Radio Project, I worked a host of day jobs. One of the more rewarding day jobs I had was working with vulnerable adults who had learning difficulties and disabilities. A lot of them had, as you might expect, pretty rough lives. Past trauma, bad upbringings, you know, the general struggles that come with physical disability or learning difficulties. And there's this really profound day where I was mentoring one of them and they were on YouTube. And we were having a little chat about what channels we subscribe to and what kind of content we like. When I noticed that this person was going from video to video, leaving nasty comments. I'd never seen it from this side of the screen before, but they were just dropping meme bombs every video. And the joke was they weren't even watching the videos, they were just clicking on them and immediately commenting some, you know, questionable words.
So Mr. Magpie, you got a straight away gleaming the diamonds as you flew by. But that old glimpse is not impressed when there's a billion stars in the sky.
I think about that moment every time I see a mean comment, because the truth is the mean comments aren't about you. They're about the pain that the person leaving them is carrying. It's an immediate reflection of how they feel. And that's the same in real life and online, by the way. It's a coping mechanism. It's a cry for help. And this, you know, particular person, I mean, they were crying for help. And this is why I never take any negative comment or mean words personally. I have a good life. I'm a healthy human with a fully functioning body. I've got good friends and family. I've got shelter, a roof over my head. I've got running water. I play music. I make videos. I have more or less the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I've got nothing to worry about. And it's always worth taking a step back in those moments where you are met with some kind of negative energy and realize what really is going on. That's just somebody hurting and they're lashing out.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I'll give my mind a beat, show up all ego to the great unknown. I can see us through road. Well, there's life, there's hope.
So what do you do in those situations? You don't engage. Instead, put that energy back into your music, back into your art, back into your work, the thing you care about the most. Because it's completely wasted if you try and fight back. Actually, the kindest thing you can do is leave it alone. Maybe even try and send some compassion that person's way. Hurt people hurt people.
For what's to come, yeah, my head's a bit stir-fried. It's over now, and I'm a little unqualified. Put fire up the rocket.
Oh yeah. Lemon, ginger and honey. Point number 3, cultivate a positivity bias. I get people ask me quite a lot how it is I'm so positive. Now there's many answers to that, but one of my tricks is I assume that everyone, and I mean everyone, means well. Let me explain this one. I've witnessed so many arguments and fights break out simply as a result of somebody misinterpreting the other. If you lean into a conversation assuming that the other person is going to be negative before they've even said anything, you're setting yourself up for a negative encounter. But that works when it's flipped the other way around. In a real life scenario like a busk, someone might come by and make a comment that could be interpreted either way. So a great technique is to smile, keep your body language open, stay relaxed, and try and get a good positive conversation going. Maybe go along with the joke a little bit. After a while, both online and in the streets, you realise that what most people actually want is a bit of attention. And once they get your attention, that's all they came for. Of course, online it is slightly more difficult to do this. This medium is a terrible way of communicating. But that doesn't mean to say it's not impossible. Just reply to your comments with something light-hearted. Try to connect a little. And remember that it all starts with you.
Indestructible like my life will have no end. And if I live to 88 years old, these are the times I'll miss.
Not everyone is out to get you, despite what you might have been told since you were a little kid. In fact, I would go as far to say that nobody is out to get you. Nobody at all. Do you know why? Because absolutely everybody is only ever thinking about themselves, even good people. So give it a try. Lead with generosity. And if it doesn't work, then, well, smile and get back to work. Get on with playing the music. Nearly finished, but we saved the best till last. Like the end of this tea, all the honey sinks to the bottom. Ooh, sweet and bitter at the same time. Point 4, the stings that carry some truth. Every now and then, someone drops by and leaves a comment that's a little rough around the edges. Maybe stings a little bit, kind of bitter to swallow. Probably could have been worded a little better, but inside is a little nugget of truth.
All those things that we said, walking each morning, telling our stories and spilling the secrets we kept. Deep blue out outside, mighty giants behind, climbing each day, a mega we say, dreaming of better times. But times like this, we're out feeling indestructible like my...
The trick here really is knowing your own weak spots. And most musicians, well, we tend to be our own biggest critics. We don't really need anyone telling us where we fall short. But sometimes that little nudge from the universe, the one that gets you to make the change, sometimes that little nudge comes from an otherwise mean comment. So when the harsh but true judgment does show up, the real work is to separate the lesson from the sting. Toss that mean part aside and you're left with some gold. Maybe it's look up from your instrument more. Fix the EQ on your amp. Maybe it's, could you turn down slightly? Damn, I hate that one. Maybe it's sharpen up your YouTube script. Maybe it's stop shouting at the camera. Sorry, I'm sorry. I was excited in those early videos, man.
Of the small things you get, true brain, salty, only 'cause you ride best trip.
It's not always fun to hear these things, but it can be very useful. An opportunity to grow is never a bad opportunity. Now, not everything is worth taking on board. Let me be clear. Opinion-based matters, well, they're subjective. You're not going to please everyone. But if it's a cold, hard fact that deep down, you kind of already knew about it, maybe it's better you take the bow on this one. Mother Teresa said, if you are humble, nothing will touch you. Neither praise nor disgrace. Because you know what you are. Humility is key to the human experience. Don't let a mean comment take you down. And don't let a nice one puff you up too much either. Take what's useful, leave the rest, and keep showing up, my friends.
Late now, come home, swerve sucks. I know she left me roses by the stairs. So brother, let me know she cares.
I'm gonna end this video in my favorite way. Here is a parable from the Zen Buddhist tradition. A Buddhist monk asked his students, if you're carrying a cup of coffee and somebody bumps into you, why did you spill the coffee? Each and every one of his students looked at each other and then said, because somebody bumped into me. No, the wise old monk said. The reason why you spilled the coffee is because that is what you were carrying in your cup. If you were carrying water, you would have spilled water. If you were carrying tea, you would have spilled tea. We all go through times where life bumps into us. And when those times come, whatever you're carrying, that's what's going to spill out. So if you're carrying fear, jealousy, anger, greed, negative emotions, then that's what spills out. But if you're carrying compassion, kindness, love, that's what's going to spill out. So each and every day you should take a pause and think, what is it I'm carrying in my cup today?
Keep your head still, no, I'll be your tail. Now go on, so little by little.
Well, I was going to conclude the video here, but it's a bit windy. It's £68 and 8p here in Littlehampton, and I think future me better conclude the video just to get the best possible audio. Over to future me. Woo! I love a parable, man. I'm about to put a book out. It's called Busking is the Answer, a musician's guide to street performance. I'm very excited about it, and equally a little bit nervous. I'm probably more nervous about getting negative feedback on this than I have been on anything I've ever done ever. But I've put everything I can possibly into this book. I've taken those necessary steps. And I know that you, rad lot, on the other side of this screen, are more likely to meet me with that energy. We're carrying goodness in our cups. Or lemon, ginger and honey, as the case may be today. Have a great week, my friends. Give this video a like if you did like it, subscribe if you're new around here, leave me an online donation with that button down there, or consider my Patreon page. I do have an album, it's called Keep Showing Up. You can only get it from me on my website. And as I said, big book update, news, announcement, whatever you call it, next week. Peace, love and happiness. See you then. Cheers.